Do you need bonds if you have a pension? I actually get this question, not even a question so much, but I have this discussion a lot with clients who, military employees, government employees, retired and whatnot, private service as well. Those are fewer and fewer, further between, but I get this a lot actually, because I think it's important for folks to understand asset allocation isn't just your stocks and bonds. You got to look at the big picture. All right. Well, you know how I feel about bonds. All right, that's all there is to it. I'm not a fan of bonds. Look, I'm not saying you should never own bonds. I apologize if that has seemed to be my stake in this. Like, I never own bonds. I don't necessarily believe that. I just don't see the value in bonds when a 10-year Treasury is at 1.7, and the S&P 500 is yielding 2.25, 2.5. Ginnie Mae is yielding 2.76, and that's a bond. But why would corporate bonds, 3.5 with all the risk? Just bonds don't make a whole lot of sense to me, especially when I get certificates of deposit with smaller maturities with the same yields, if not more, than a 10-year Treasury. So without any risk, any volatility. But anyway, look, I'm 49 years old, far away from hanging it up. So I don't have any bonds. I just have stocks. That's it. If you're just about to retire, though, that might be different. So let's talk to these nice folks today, federal employees, TSP, and they both have federal pensions. And we got to talk about the asset allocation. And on my Right Capital software, I had to choose something. So I put in by default a 60-40 portfolio as a target allocation. So anyone who's using the software, that doesn't mean I say it's specific for you. I just had to choose something as a target allocation. And the guy was saying, hey, he just said, I don't know if I need 40% in bonds. And I couldn't agree the more because he said exactly what I'm telling you here. When you got the pension, essentially you don't need bonds. Now, if you can't sleep at night because the stock market keeps you up awake, well, that's a different story. I'm not sure the bonds are actually the alternative to that. The G fund is for sure, but CDs would be for sure. But bonds lose value all the time. Just look at Vanguard Long-Term Treasury Bond Fund. It goes up and down. Not to the extent of stocks do, but certainly there's volatility in that fund. So if losing sleep at night is troublesome because of volatility of stocks, bonds aren't the way to go necessarily. A Ginnie Mae maybe, but just do the CDs. Nothing wrong with that. So my thing is, if you have a pension, that is an annuity. That's an income annuity. And it's the equivalent of a bond that pays you an interest rate. Now, obviously, you don't have access to the principal or anything like that. But the Ginnie Mae is literally, not Ginnie Mae, the pension is literally a fund that pays you interest. $2,000 a month. What's that equivalent of in terms of bond? I don't know. I'd have to do net present value, discount cash flows and stuff like that. But to look at that, your pension, say it pays $2,000 a month. Then on top of that, you got Social Security, say $2,000 a month. If you had, that's what, $48,000 a year. Okay, so if you had $100,000 in your portfolio and you got $48,000 a year, that'd be a 48% distribution yield. Does that make sense? Well, you're not getting 48% distribution yield, so you'd have to say, okay, $1 million in that portfolio. If it's paid $48,000 a year, that'd be a 4.8% distribution yield. So that would be the equivalent, basically, of a bond. You have $1 million, pays you $48,000 a year. That's or 4.8%. Obviously, you don't get any money back on your investment here, but that's how I look at it. It never goes away. If anything, it's a federal one, it goes up a little bit with COLA. Now, you're not getting any principal residual on that because it all is going away in terms of when you die. But at the end of the day, we got people stopped up here. You have an income stream from your annuity, your pension, that will never go away, that you'll never be without. And you don't have any principal residual, but why would you add bonds to that if you have $48,000 a year from Social Security and your pension? The only reason you have bonds in that case is because you're worried about volatility. And here's what we're telling this guy. And well, he told me because he's right. He said, look, I don't need to worry about volatility. The only reason I have, because I have enough income to last a lifetime through my pension and Social Security, my wife's pension. Exactly. So who cares what the stock market does if your bonds and Social Security are giving you all the income you need? Does that make sense? Now, again, if you're worried about the market, I get it. If you're worried about the market, say, I don't want all stocks because I can't take a 40% decline like I had in 2007 through 2009. I get that. But what do you have the assets for? Well, if the assets you have are for income, and you're getting $48,000 a year just from your Social Security and your pension, and then let's say your spouse has $1,500 from Social Security and pension, and that's another $18,000. So what's that? $66,000 a year you're getting, depending on your pension, all with cost of living adjustments. How much you need to live? If you need $50,000 a year to live on, well, your 3 sources of guaranteed income cover that. So who cares if the stock market falls 40%? Your income is still being met by your pension and your Social Security. So, I mean, literally, so who cares? And that's why I tell people that if you have bonds in your portfolio to minimize some of the volatility, well, that's fine, but why? Because you already have your income needs met through your stock, through your bonds, through Social Security and pension. So I frankly don't get it. In fact, I would even say, look, if you're worried about the markets, why even have any bonds or stocks? Just have CDs. You have enough income to live on that has a cost of living adjustment. If the market scares you, just go CDs. Don't even go bonds, just go CDs. Anyways, that'd be my argument there. All right. I'd like to hear what you thought on that, your thoughts on that. So if you have comments, put them below. All right, thanks, guys.